Transformers issue number 2. That's right, folks. We're back with Skybound and Image Comics' new Energon universe. It's kind of interesting they went with Energon universe. Do you think it's because Transformers is the biggest brand between this, G.I. Joe, and Void Rivals? Clearly it's not Void Rivals. But, I don't know, it seems like... I guess the Transformers is kind of like kicking it off, but Void Rivals was the first one, so... I don't know. Weird that's called the Energon universe. This is Daniel Warren Johnson, an artist and writer that I've just enjoyed seeing his career blossom. It's so interesting. And this is one of those properties where you're like, I guess that makes sense for him to do. And then you read the book, you're like, oh yeah, his sensibilities and the stories he wants to tell, it makes perfect sense for this book. This is such a well-written story. It's such a creative, brilliant thing. I love every second of it. Like, it is so specific, but it's doing like a type of thing. As somebody who doesn't really read a bunch of Transformers comic books, it's the kind of thing that I've hardly ever seen in the movies, which are the things I most associate with the Transformers for me. And that is just taking a breather and like understanding things. It's kind of interesting. I dig that. So this book opens up and Optimus Prime like leaves a cave. And he's like, wow, this world has so much beauty in it. It's amazing. And then he accidentally kills a deer by stepping on it. And he has like a crisis. He's like, oh no, I'm so sorry. Just broken. That's how we open this book. And it is just, it's not played for laughs. It's not played in any, disgusting way. It's just like, oh man, he's never seen anything like this. And he's never had consequences like this before of just killing a thing by stepping on it. It's crazy. And that's when Spike shows up to talk to him, and they just kind of have like a conversation that feels very authentic too. This is a guy who has never been to Earth. Optimus Prime is young here. He's not fully aware of what he needs to do on this planet, and Spike's the guy that's like, I don't know, you're a big robot, whatever. So they talk about like, what are parents? What is like life on Earth? What does it all mean? And then Spike asks him about Cybertron. We just have a little bit, like a history we're all kind of familiar with Cybertron, just kind of establishing the lore to this new Energon universe where he was just born into war and there was destruction everywhere and there was so many foes that they've been fighting forever, Starscream being one of them, and then it kind of teases like Megatron being another one. They say Megatron's dead. I'm not convinced yet just because like that is a big character to destroy at the beginning of your universe, but we'll see what happens. And Optimus is just kind of explaining the stakes of his world. Like, we had to leave. Our numbers were dwindling. We were losing this battle. I made the play to bring what we had left and get out of here. It happens. And they talk about death because, of course, Spike lost his mother and Optimus just lost Bumblebee. So you just start thinking about, like, what is the fertility of it all and the family aspect of everything. And that's when we see Cliff Jumper is alive, and he walks up, he's like, it's me, buddy, and he's like, yeah, I'm good, everything's good. And Cliff Jumper, he freaks out when he sees Spike. He's like, what is that thing? Is there a lot of them here? That's really weird. And that's when Carly also shows up. He's like, oh my god, there's another one. And Cliff Jumper starts kind of freaking out, and he just like hits his head on a tree branch, like, what? What's going on? But luckily, he calms down enough for Carly to be like, all right, dude. You're on our planet, so don't freak out when you see us. I should be freaking out when I see you. So she's like, I'm Carly. And he's like, I'm Cliff Jumper. It's nice to meet you. They head back into their cave. And this is where we see that, thankfully, Jetfire left a bunch of, like, the Cybertronian technology intact from his time here. They have, like, a charging bay, but they don't have enough energon. We also see, like, the bodies of a few other Autobots. Like, I know... like, RC was one of them, Ratchet's still awake. There wasn't this many when we opened the book, right? Like, I'll put it on screen, but, like, in the corner of this page, I'm pretty sure we didn't see this many, so I guess we're gonna, like, fix a couple of our Cybertronian brothers and sisters. That's kind of cool. They say brothers and sisters, so I'm thinking we're gonna see maybe more than RC for a female Autobot? Maybe? Could you imagine? I don't know. As they're having this conversation, Carly is just, like, painting the side of her van with like a portrait of Optimus because why not? I mean, Optimus is built to be painted on the side of a van, so hell yeah, let's do it. They need to find a way to get more energon so they can restore their brothers and sisters. Optimus Prime's like, okay, here's the power, here's the Matrix, just take it. And Ratchet's like, how about we don't, like, kill you right now? You're like, okay, that's not good. But if we're having a problem getting energon, hopefully the Decepticons are having the same problem. We cut back to the work site where Spike's father was working, and he saw his friend Davey get cut in half by, was it Starscream? It was one of them. And, like, the police are called. They're like, you're telling me a giant robot turned into a plane and killed your friend? And that's when Skywarp just, like, jumps down, and you see that sound wave, and Starscream just, like, bring a huge crate, like, okay, here's our device. Let's get the energon from this place. And the police start shooting at them. And we're killing a lot of people. Like, we're not pulling any punches here. It's a destructive universe. You just see Starscream is just killing everybody. It's getting dangerous and disruptive. It's working. Skywarp is getting the power in his body. He's gaining momentum. It's intense. It's powerful. That's when, like, the Air Force is called in, and we have, like, two, like, I guess, fighter jets just trying to, like, show up and knock them down. And that's when Starscream is like, oh my goodness, they actually have countermeasures. Look at them. Look at those things. I'm gonna go fight them. And we get a couple of really beautifully drawn, really beautifully depicted pages of Starscream just toying with these fighter jets, and it's insane. Like, he throws one into the other one, and everyone has to eject, and then he catches one of the pilots as they're ejecting from the ship, and he just crushes the pilot in his hands. And you see, oh my goodness, this is dangerous. Starscream's gonna, like, take the parachute off one of them. One of the other pilots, like, clicks a button on his suit, and it turns into, like, a pair of wings, and he pulls out a gun, and I'm like, hold on a minute. Before I get to what happens here, hold on a minute. We're in the energon universe. We have advanced technology. I can buy that. Is this a G.I. Joe? Is this a G.I. Joe guy? Because, like, that's a G.I. Joe kind of weapon. And he fights Starscream. He does manage to evade and get away. And that is when we see that the pilot that was in this plane that used, like, the weird jetpack, his name is Duke. Guess who has a miniseries starting up in December? It's Duke. Great. I mean, that's it. Just the name alone. We are aware of this universe. That's a good enough thing for me. It works well. It works very well. Planes coming down to destroy the other Decepticons as they're charging up their energon. The whole area kind of explodes into big eruptions. A lot of people dying. But because all of the Autobots are so weak, it's Optimus who's like, I gotta go deal with that, make sure the Decepticons are okay. I need Cliffjumper and Ratchet to stay here, keep our brothers and sisters safe. And you see Spike's like, look, he's my dad, he's family, whatever it is, I gotta go help him. So he goes inside of Optimus and goes away, and that is when Carly does the same, because she wants to help out too, because her dad is there too. And she gets into her van and she heads out to follow them, and everyone is following everyone. It's pretty cool. That's when we see one of Soundwave's little minions is spying on Carly, following her back to her home. We also see that Spike's father takes a police car to get away. He runs inside a home and he opens up like a chest. And this is where we realize he went to Davey's home. And Davey is the father of Carly. So Carly's dad was just killed. And now we see that Sparky, that's Spike's father, his name is Witwicky, which is kind of clever and fun. And that's when he goes full on G.I. Joe. He puts on some insane army like stuff. He's got guns and grenades. And he's like, I'm sorry, Carly, your father's dead. They killed him. They killed your father. And that's where the book ends. And holy shit, like, this is insane. This is all great stuff. Like, just, we take a couple of pages just to show Optimus learning what Earth is. That is so cool. Just the careless, destructive nature of the Decepticons. Just three bumbling assholes just making a big mess of this place. I love it so much. And just the intensity of the entire situation is so cool and great. And then the book does have some wrap-up to show us, like, what's going on with Duke. He was a man of action. He was in war. He saved people, but he's kind of broken because his friend Conrad was killed with the Decepticons. But your country needs you back, and we see that he's talking to Hawk. And you're like, okay, now we're talking. That's so cool. This is like a really easy way to become a fan of these characters. Like, it's kind of impressive, honestly. I dig that so much. My goodness. But this book is incredible. It's well drawn so much. The colors, like Mike Spicer does such a good job with the colors. It's so fun to see this book. I really dig it. It's incredible. It's crazy too. I love that energy so much. Should we do a big video? I'll leave it to you guys if you're interested. Should I cover all of Void Rivals? I feel like that's more spacefaring, and I'm kind of just like in this universe, but I don't know. Maybe I will. I am digging this. For sure, we're going to at least cover the Duke and Cobra Commander books that are coming out in December and January. Maybe we'll come back for more. I don't know. But Transformers issue number 2, I am going to give a 9 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.